has actually been published, so it's not 100% original for tonight, I'm sorry. But what our collaboration involves is that a little while ago, Julia, who's a former student of mine, she told me that she was turning my first novel, Lost Boys, into a series of poems. So what she did in a sense was sort of to deconstruct the novel and then using only words and sentences from my novel produce a kind of sequence of kind of poems that in a way kind of rework and retell the book in a kind of fascinating new way, and adding to that with a number of poems of her own.
I would say not a lot of people who are trying to deconstruct a writer whose work they admire have the opportunity to send 20 Facebook messages a day to said writer and demand a response. So this is actually a tremendously gratifying collaboration. I got to tell James everything I thought he did wrong. I really beat him senseless for about 5 months while the two of us went back and forth about how to write this book.
I then rewrote the poems as they were sent to me.
Yes, James edited my edits. So it was sort of this infinite regress of editing. And shockingly, some insane publisher agreed to deal with the two of us, double the trouble. So we'd like to thank Haberthorne and Andrew Wells who published this. And now we're going to read you a couple poems, starting from a place of sickness, because raise your hand if you are not sick right now. It's that time of year where, yeah, more than half the audience is ill.
Yeah. So anyway, as I have a terrible cold, this particular poem speaks deeply to me. Bed of ecology, yellow and mucus, see inside the sinuses, nose the ribbons. Soup, I'm fine. How are you? I see your raw oysters and raise you egg drop soup. Beautiful soup. Phlegm is literally the embodiment of sputum, and the sputum is multiplying like emails in yellow as eggs. I'm too weak to walk back. All I want is to soup and sleep. Come up and I will get you your Chinese food soup and tissues, trash can, blankets, and all the black adder you can stay awake for. Because Hugh Laurie, beautiful soup, carton after carton of soup in the evening. I slept on her floor. Soup of the morning was the only thing I could swallow, besides my sputum. I'm going to resist blowing my nose, just for a moment. I'll now read a couple of the Lost Boys poems. Opaque like water, filling with ink, the swirling is everything. Pause. Bed in the corner, opposite another, pause, longer than before, the coats. In the wardrobe outside, turned out the lights and lay in the shadows. Trying to be someone else, pause, and every boy, pause, fooling, pause. This is to think he is, pause, but this him, this at all, and collapse all that, pause. A masked man raises above the head another man, blindfolded. This boy has an eye for the blood. Details, pause, the boy. Suck his pause. A cup of tea stood and nodded and tilted and skin bright, and the tape stings him as if the strain had a weight with a sigh. It was rather like living. Pause. Pause, to be honest. Pause what happened to a sharp thought of what if secrets had things unspecified. Now it was real and still so frightening. It seemed unreal. Lost Boys. Back the red oil, the black it tracking the risks. He read the method. Angry for a part is here, a part of here after the mountains in the main square. All the forgotten things are here, the rainbow and the tape reels. The old buildings overgrown with yellow moss and skinny cats for understanding the world, and the dirty canal paths, and the deepest thing. The sun beats down red with shadows in high into here, eyed. After Istanbul, Samarkand, New York, Naples, Shenzhen, and Tangiers, find here. Upside down, ready skin is darker, and each day it gets darker, where the grease and dust is underpainted blue in the blood poison of frogs. The boy who was once the boy who was once the boy who was once the old, cast aside the old clothes, the shadows of the lost, the wild, the never, the lost boys of the old man who lives in the mountains, tower there in the far eyes and voices and forbidden men. Soldiers will stand. Oil will an army of police, hunting dogs and helicopters running into the sewers. Weighted in the mud, the grass, the leaves, the sapling, the moss, the birds, the rabbits, the deer inside swimming in blood. Everywhere that bitter petrol station air. All the false gods' eyes like metal can make shapes in the heart. It is only this, is only. Alien, two long silvery lost boys in the bonfire sky. Eyes of sticks and stones wiped away, walls silvery, sound of the castle. The rain, the rumble and the flash of the hot winds. The clouds that come with dust and the drone of cicadas pink strike the morning. Pine and litter the gutters. Falling leaves dust the seaside town, adding on a whitewashed wall. In the night singing, the small rhythms from the tower beyond the high towers, and the land beyond the fortress, flower petals unfolding, saffron, mint, and jasmine, the beautiful eyes of the Silver Coast forest.
Not lost. When in doubt, throw the shadow of the black rabbit on the table with irony on irony. When all is said and sugar plums are not burning, but turning. There to berries, purple, black, place to Lanka, to Sehala, to Lakdiva, to Serendib, to Ceylon sapphire. When in doubt, throw the ghost of the white rabbit on the table. Lost boys. Most of time wore the gas mask, insisted on it and the low rasp of breathing. Sometimes there in the room, sometimes in cages, sometimes with ass, sometimes with gas mask and mucus and sperm. Sometimes people watched. Sometimes watched cameras were recording on a screen, hands around the neck. Sometimes there were men in the cages like groveling animals. Sometimes wore the gas mask. Sometimes bucked in front of the men. Times tried to escape as the shame was too much lost until the air turned black and heavy in Spark's eyes. Sometimes would find naked and shivering shit all over body, shaking and bleeding, the walls more animal, captured on the screens. See faces, eyes, build it. There's no use. And the bodies found in the morning, in the parks and more. Sometimes, in the quiet moments, had been military. See all the soldiers shining in the sun, sometimes not. Later wore the gas mask. The room was empty of paper in the machine in the morning. Time filled with dust. The sky was hazy. The heat was overwhelming. The bleached sky and his eyes were missing the black flies in the distance. Then silence, a line of walls, and a handprint on a wall of dust, cordite and oil. All the lost boys, the wild boys, the dinosaur boys, boys in the dusty streets, burning, the oil under a white sky. Thank you.